talking about, you're involved in your career. Bounce around from Oriental House to EM and the corrections. But also you're in a relationship at this time. So explain to me a little bit about the history of that. Excuse me. How did y'all meet? What was it about your then girlfriend at the time that you liked about her, and how did y'all connect in that way? And tell me a little bit about the journey of y'all relationship, then marriage.
Okay, for sure. So we had originally met through Impact.
Okay.
She went to the University of Michigan, so she was involved. They were in Impact chapter there, so she was involved in her chapter there.
Okay.
So first time we actually met was either at a national or a regional conference. I can't even remember, honestly speaking.
Okay.
And I'm pretty sure the first time we met, I actually had a girlfriend. I was dating my ex at that time. So the first time we actually met, but we didn't meet on let's get together stuff. It was more like on cool stuff.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, the first time I met her, I'm pretty sure she was joking, but she would, for some reason when we first met, she would call me every biblical name except for Israel. Because Israel's a biblical name, but she would call me like Abraham and most all this other stuff. And eventually I was like, hey, can you just call me Israel? But nothing ever happened. We were just cool and stuff like that. So we saw each other at least one or two conferences. So when we really got together, it had to be a little bit later on. After I graduated, I'd say I started noticing her a little bit on Instagram, on IG. I'm like, man, she's really cool. She looks nice.
Were you still in a relationship at this time?
No. So by the time I was noticing her on Instagram, I was single.
Okay.
Because this was after I graduated in 2014. Well, me and my ex broke up while I was still in undergrad.
Okay.
So so we broke up. So by the time I'm looking at her and stuff like that, I'm single. So I'm seeing her. I remember exactly what it was supposed to. She had this blue dress she was wearing. I was like, man, she looks nice in this dress. But I remember, I think at some point I was looking through her scrolling through her IG, probably low-key little stalker, and I saw a post. I'm like, oh, dang, she got a man. So I was like, okay, at that point, game's over. I ain't destroying. I'm not into destroying happy homes.
Yeah.
But then we ended up going to another conference, and I think at this time I had already graduated, and I didn't even want to go to the Impact conference at this time. I remember me and my other bro, I think Jeremy, were talking about this, and I didn't want to go. But for some reason I ended up going anyways. But again, I'm not going as a student. So then me and her run into each other there, and I'm pretty sure she initiated the conversation because we walked past each other at one point. No, I was going somewhere, and I think she saw me, got out the elevator, and we talked and we spoke. And for some reason, out of all the times, I'm like, yo, I'm really feeling this conversation. I think I've already been feeling her because I'm like, man, she looks cute, she looks this and this, she's on fire for God.
Were y'all in communication at all?
No.
During this time? Not at all?
No, not at all. So then when we're having this conversation, I'm feeling this, and I'm thinking I want to shoot her down. Then one of my bros comes.
You said I don't want to shoot her down?
No, I do. I was like, I want to get the number, everything right now.
Okay.
But one of my bros comes, and he was like, and he starts joining the conversation.
Nah, was he blocking?
No, he wasn't blocking. He just wasn't aware of what's going on. He was never on that type of stuff.
I feel you,
But I was trying to get him to hint, like, because he had mentioned, oh yeah, my cousin goes to school, my cousin I know. And I'm like, oh, that's cool. God, let him feel for this fist bust. God, let him feel through this fist bump.
I'm sorry, where was this conference at? Because I remember Impact was at. It was at Michigan State where I was at.
Yeah, I don't know where this conference was.
It was at MSU?
No.
Okay.
I think it was in Chicago, Indiana?
Okay.
Anyway. I forget where we were at.
Got you.
But
and this is around what, 2000?
This is 2015.
Okay.
Because that's when we officially started it. Yeah, so 2015. So then boom, he didn't get the memo, and then one of my other bros comes out the woodworks and just like, hey, we need you so we can get our room and stuff like that. And I'm like, do you really need me? Like, hoping he catch it. He didn't catch the hint. So
was she by herself, or was she with a group
She was
of
by
friends?
herself. I mean, she came with some friends, but she was by herself at the moment.
In the dialogue,
Yeah, so later on that night, I told him, hey, you all failed me. I was trying to get her number, shoot her down. You all failed me. So eventually, by the end of the conference, I do end up getting her number. We exchange numbers, and we start texting from there. And then we immediately hit it off. And what really drew me to her is that one.
Wait, you said when you were looking at her Instagram, it looked like she was in a relationship. So what was that situation like?
Well, I mean, I asked one of her friends before. I asked one girl, she's like, she didn't really know about her.
Yeah.
She said, ask her friend about her. And her friend's like, to me, like, you just need to be upfront and direct. But I was like, okay, so she is single then. I thought she was in a relationship, but you're giving me the green light to tell me, be upfront, be direct, don't beat around the bush and the other stuff. Yeah. You're another guy for women. You wouldn't tell me this if she was in a relationship. So I'm like, got it. So eventually we do end up having that conversation. I get the number, we start texting. So obviously I was already attracted to her physically. Yeah. But obviously nothing that happened at a conference or anything like that. But then we started having conversations, and turns out we're both into Marvel. So we had that huge, like we're both into comic books, both into Marvel.
You a Marvel guy, huh?
Huge comic book. Let me say that. So we watch comic books, but huge Marvel for sure. She's into that. Obviously, we had a love for God. Both had a independent relationship with God. So I'm like, this is a good-looking woman who has her own relationship with God. Not, okay, it's a good-looking woman but doesn't like God, but or light guy, but maybe looks like Shrek's foot. But this is all together in one.
Yeah.
It's like I gotta go for this, like
package.
literally.
Yeah.
So then, bam, like I'm just falling for her. That conversation is good. We're on FaceTime a lot. We can talk. She knows a little bit about sports. Obviously, from being University of Michigan football, she's all U of M. I'm all Ohio State. But she knows that, so it's a woman who
Go green, MSU. I'm just kidding. It's all love, but
yeah.
We'll see.
So it's cool. But she knows this. So it's I'm like, this girl who knows comics, a girl who knows football, knows a little bit about basketball, knows this stuff, knows God, and then like I said, she just has a great personality. It was cool people, like for real, like great, down to earth.
Yeah.
And sometimes you think of the women who are like really pretty, really cute. You think, okay, sometimes they get an unfair reputation that they're uppity, snooties, know-it-alls. They think they look down on people. That wasn't her, man. Had a warm personality, all that stuff. So then we just clicking. And the first time we hung out, man, I went to go see her. I tried to surprise her.
So you tried to surprise her?
Yeah, I think she kind of knew I was coming because I was supposed to come, but then I told her I couldn't because I had actually got sick. But I got over that bug quick, so then I shot down to see her, staying with her and her friend, and like it was just so fun that first time. We just instantly clicked, had a good time.
You went up to U of M to go see her?
Yeah, so her and her friend were staying they had their own apartment off campus.
Okay, got you.
So that first moment we were clicked, and we're locked in, and from there on out, it was just like, yeah, in my mind, this was the one.
Yeah, you already knew like that?
Yeah, because I had fasted a little bit beforehand. I think one thing that stuck out to me is I like music, so I said that in the previous earlier. I always like music.
Yeah.
So then normally when I'm listening to R&B songs, I don't necessarily think of one particular woman. But I remember at one point I was like, I'm seeking God for her. I'm thinking, listening to music, and I'm like, man, the only one who comes to mind right now is her. Yeah. I'm like, okay, yeah, this is that.
That's the one. That's confirmation. Like most men, it don't take them 3 to 6 years to figure out.
Not
if you want to. I mean, not to say you want to get married next month because you know she the one, but dudes know early on if she the one, and also if she not the one for sure.
Facts, for sure. If you spend enough time, the issue is sometimes people will hang out 1 month, and then once, and then no, you're not gonna find out 'cause you're not spending time. But if you're spending enough time, you know early on. So then from there, honestly, like I said, obviously dating had its ebbs and flows, ups and downs, getting to know each other and stuff like that, but nothing, chaotic and crazy. But even,
So he's doing a long distance relationship, huh?
Oh my goodness. So we live 3 hours apart because I live in Kent. So by that time when we first started dating, I was living in Kent. I was living in College Towers. Yeah. Then eventually, me and Damon got an apartment.
That's in Ohio, by the way. Like,
my bad.
Northeast Ohio, near Akron area.
Then I moved to Akron.
Okay.
And then, so I was the majority of the time. Then when we started dating, I was living in Akron. She's living in Detroit, so it's 3 hours away. So then we're probably seeing each other once a month, but we're talking like every day. But yeah, man, it's just something about her that just, and for me, especially my background, getting around smashing girls, you got to be a phenomenal woman to make you want to cut everyone else off.
Yeah.
And I did that with her. Like when she was like, "Oh," I was like, "Okay, well, normally I may talk to a few different girls. Doesn't mean we're messing around, but I may talk to a few." She's like, "Well, if you're dating me, it's just me." And I was like, "Dang."
She set that boundary, huh?
She said it, and I stuck
That's
with
real.
it.
I respect that.
Yeah, clearly I thought she was worth it because I stuck with it. So eventually, man, we do that. I think we started dating March. Okay. We made it official March. So we kind of got in contact January-ish of 2020. I'm sorry, 2015. We made it official March 2015.
Okay.
Like March 20th, March 29th, something like that, somewhere around there.
All right.
And then from there, we're dating. And I think probably that next year, 2016, is when I proposed in like August.
Okay, so it was like about a year, a few months?
Yeah, a few months.
Okay.
Because once I was new to her, I started saving money for a ring right away.
I
started saving money, like $100 every check, and then I'm taking my income tax. This is going in the ring. Eating peanut butter and jelly sandwiches and hot dogs. We ain't blowing money fast here.
Sacrificing, huh?
Yes.
It was worth it, though.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. For sure. So then we ended up getting married in 2017. Because I had told her the plan. So when I first got her number, when we were at that conference, I told her, like, my plan is, like, because her friend said be upfront and direct. My plan is we'll date for a year, really get to know each other. If everything goes well from there, then I'm going to propose.
You kept straight. Like, you can't. The whole thing, like.
There's no point of beating around the bush. At that time, I'm grown.
How did she receive that?
She was happy about that because I wasn't one of those dudes who was just like, well, we'll see where it goes. Or I'm kind of feeling you, but I don't know yet. I was like, nah, we're going to date for a year. I'm going to give you this for sure. This is the timeline. If we make it there.
So this is at the conference before y'all was even officially together.
Yes, yeah.
He was like, I'm going to shoot straight.
Shoot it straight. Because, again, why beat around the bush?
Yeah, I agree.
If by that year, I can get to see different sides of you. See you when you're happy, sad, depressed, excited. See you going through life. You can see me. And if we still are going hard for each other after that, I'm proposing the following year. after that, bro, we're getting married. And also, too, I don't want to play with fire.
Of course.
Because we ain't going to be, I can't.
That's another thing, bro.
We're not going to be able to be together for too long.
Man, I think the distance helped y'all out in
Oh,
that regard.
yes, the distance helped us out, man. The distance saved my life. I ain't going to lie to you.
Yeah.
So, but again, I'm not the dude that respect all the men who can, but I can't be engaged for no 3-5 years. I ain't got it. I ain't got
Are you
it.
engaged in like the movie?
Yeah, nah.
I don't know, bro. How old were you at the time when you was engaged? How old were you? How old was she?
So let me see.
It's
When
like
we got
2016?
married, I was 25, going on 26. So I think when we started talking, I was probably 22.
Okay.
No.
Are y'all around the same
21.
age or?
We're 2 years apart.
Okay.
So
Same for me and my wife, 2 years apart.
Yeah, same. So yeah, we're 2 years apart. So let me see. That's 2015. So
And you proposed in 2016.
Got married in 2017.
Was there any like big elaborate proposal, or how did that happen?
It kind of was an elaborate proposal. So
You
boom.
can briefly touch on that if you want.
Yeah, no, for sure. I loved it.
Yeah.
So basically, she knew it was coming because I was acting weird that day. I wasn't talking to her as much. But that's
She
because I was
already knew?
driving. I think she had a
Dang,
hunch.
bro, you give it away.
Yeah, because I was driving to Michigan.
Okay.
Because I had to drive there to propose to her.
Yeah.
And I had to set up. So basically, what happened is, long story short, her friends brought her to this location. I had to set up with like her family. I had her friends there, her family there, some of my family members there, my friends there. She would randomly run into me, and it was me and my two bros, Jonathan and Jeremy. And I had another bro. He wasn't there, but he was like basically all my best men except for one. We were just walking surprisingly on her, and we started singing the second verse of "If I Ever Fall in Love Again." So we started off singing that. While I'm singing that, then they joined me, and then my bro was like, "Okay, but real question." So we basically started acting out a play, as if no one was there. It's just us talking.
Yeah.
So they're talking about, well, how do you know you really love her? Like, how do you know so I answered that question. The next one was like, what you gonna do if you guys have an issue? So it was like 3 questions, and the final one was like, well, how would you propose to her? And I was like, well, if I were propose to her, I'd do this.
She was there seeing this.
So she's seen the whole thing. So we're acting as if she's not there. Meanwhile, we're doing it in front of everybody.
Yeah.
So then eventually, I get down on one knee. I'm walking through how I'm gonna do it while I'm doing it to her.
So was her family there at the time?
Her parents were there. Her close friends, best friend was there.
Were they like hiding or like?
So we were all hiding, but then they came out.
After you had.
They might have came out either
right?
before or after. I can't remember.
So once she saw everybody, she already knew what was up, probably.
Yeah, when she saw me, she knew what was up.
Okay.
Cause I ain't come driving through the house for nothing. Like we'll kick it, but at this point.
Yeah.
So we sing that song. They asked the question that someone do it. She proposed. I got tears. She was crying. She felt it. She said yes. But so yeah, it was definitely a big deal. It was definitely a big deal for sure.
That's amazing, man. So as far as spiritually, as far as preparing for, engagement and in your relationship, how did God work in your relationship, individually and
I feel like he started refining me because with her, I had to learn this over time to be more gentle and not jump to it because I was still, I still had some hard ways about me.
Okay.
So like I still was quick to think someone was trying to come at me when really someone could have just been maybe having an honest question, or maybe because I'm coming off as so sensitive, I think everyone's attacking me, it's about me, but really that's not the case. So in those conversations, I have to learn that, okay, she's not my enemy, and then if I learn she's not my enemy, then a lot more people aren't my enemy.
Yeah.
But then it's like, okay, everything isn't about you. Everything doesn't rotate around you. If anything, everything rotates around God.
Yeah.
And I'm making it about me. So I helped her in that. She helped me in that area. I think in some ways I helped her to kind of speak up more. Because I remember one time we'd be at a restaurant, and she would want the waitress or the waiter and ask them. I'm like, well, you can do what you asked them. You got it. So we both.
Was she a little bit more like passive?
Yeah.
Or like soft spoken.
Yeah. So at that time, we're both kind of pushing each other in certain ways. You get me to calm down. Need to be this hyperactive, hyper-vigilant, thug or something like that, or act like that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And at the same time, something like you got a voice, you can use it, blase blase. And at the same time, she was encouraging my car, and like she was down with being a first lady someday because I'm gonna be a pastor.
Wow.
So then that's another thing too. I'm like, okay, so she's down with this. Down with the idea of having kids, having a family. So that's kind of how she.
So your values aligned in what y'all wanted out of life.
Values aligned. She came from a 2-parent home. I'm coming from a 2-parent home. She grew up in the church. I grew up in the church, but then we both have our own. So then, like I said, we can challenge each other, hold each other accountable. We're walking this road together. So basically, we're running this race and we're running it side by side. And
that's amazing. And this was just question off the top. Did you all have very similar doctrine of how you view God, like as far as
for
Trinity? Sure. Sometimes there's like the oneness who Jesus is God, but no, not they deny the Trinity and that kind of thing. So, but views on God and how Your theology was very similar.
Yeah, because we both grew up in obviously she grew up in Michigan, I grew up in
Okay.
Toledo, but Toledo's not that far from
Yeah.
Michigan. Probably should be in Michigan for all honesty. But we both grew up in Baptist churches growing up.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we both grew up in Baptist churches growing up.
Okay.
I think the walk for us both got real in college.
Yeah.
So we both probably kind of had similar experience, similar coming to Jesus experiences in college. So then that was cool for real. So yeah, it's just really pushing each other from like encouraging each other like that and living life with each other as well. I'm encouraging her, she's encouraging me, praying for each other. We can talk about stuff. So then that's what I had. And then when we got married, you know, marriage was
Yeah, what was marriage like for you? You know, the overall, you know, what was good, what was challenging, like what was that experience like, y'all? Well, let me back up. So you proposed 2016. When did y'all actually get married?
2017 in July.
Okay, so it was like a little over a year. Okay, and during this time, I guess during the engagement, how was your relationship? You know, what was
going through some stuff, you know, still like, but I think that's just learning each other more and slowly putting together the process of becoming one.
Yeah.
But still, overall, like I said, still enjoyed it. I never had any doubts of like I got to back out of this, I got to get out of this. Like still going through it, still learning each other. So.
Did y'all do like premarital counseling?
Oh, for sure. We did premarital counseling. I'm pretty sure before I proposed.
Okay. Even before you proposed. Okay.
Yeah. So technically speaking, we did premarital counseling after I proposed.
Okay.
But then before that, we did this. I think this counseling before that. So Span had this like couples counseling thing that they would do before you propose.
Like courting.
Yeah, kind of like courting, but it's like okay, you guys are on the same page. You're doing well. You're healthy. You got green light. You can go ahead and go to the next stage. So we did that, and we did do premarital counseling after I proposed and stuff like that. So overall, like I said, it was in my mind, it was a dope experience dating her. I think that's one of my funnest dates ever. Was before anything else was with her. Our first official date. I think we went to the movies to see. We did Captain America. We went to see the Avengers: Age of Ultron. And I remember just sharing that experience with her. It was one of the best, funniest things ever. Seeing her face, she's happy, she's enjoying it. I'm lit, she's enjoying it. And this is a new experience. I was like, it doesn't get any better than this. And like, I think that's another one. Like, yeah, this is the one right here.
Yeah.
A beautiful woman. I'm enjoying. Loves God. Loves Marvel. We're enjoying this, and then we're geeks talking about it later. Talking about it beforehand. Like what? Say less.
Like a match made in heaven, right?
For sure.
This is when y'all was engaged, right?
Yeah. This is before we got engaged.
Okay.
That's how I like getting some of these dates and going to see movies together.
Okay.
Matter of fact, we had matching shirts.
Oh yeah,
Man, we had so many pictures of matching shirts. It's crazy. Matching outfits for Marvel movies. Like, man, that was our thing. Man.
So y'all bonded pretty tough, man.
Yeah, man.
So y'all got engaged. You're still having fun, working through, like you said, the process of becoming one. Two different people try to join lives together, but eventually y'all made it, and y'all end up getting married, man. So share some insights onto marriage, man. What was that transition like for, you and maybe her from, not that you want to speak from her, but maybe for you.
Yeah, no, for sure.
What you gleaned from her insight, from what you've revealed to you.
I think, the process of marriage was, being married was still lit, was still fun.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about it later, but even though we're not married anymore, we're divorced and stuff like that. But I honestly say still that was some of the best times of my life. What was the process like? It's like, I don't think anyone actually prepares you for what it's like to actually combine your life with someone else's.
That's true. You do go through premarital counseling, but it's
just still nothing that can...
Living it out is different than getting the knowledge and information.
Because again, it's from the little stuff to what time do you go to? You're a night owl.
Exactly.
I'm a morning person, or vice versa.
Right.
I like to walk around with headphones on. You don't. The different love languages. Mine's are words of affirmation, acts of service. Yours are physical touch, and quality time. So like, okay, how do we balance our love languages when they're opposite, right? Like, how do we do that? How do we talk about how to resolve conflict before, but now when we're actually married, how do you resolve conflict now? Like, how do we do finances, even sex? Like, they don't tell you, like, well, okay, well, I might be a night owl, so I prefer at night, or you might be a morning person, you prefer in the morning. So now, where do we meet in the middle as far as doing that? How do we know, again, we're at our best? Because especially, I wasn't a virgin beforehand, but she was, so I'm a first. So then it's just like, I can imagine from her, like, hoping she meets expectations of people in the past, but me as the loving husband, you don't have to meet their expectations. Yeah. But still, at the same time, I probably can't stop those thoughts from happening. So I'm pretty sure her coming in is like, okay, I want to be the best, blase, because he's had everything prepared to pass.
That's another thing, bro, about having premarital sex. Well, God, he designed sex to be a good thing, but in the context of between husband and wife.
Yes.
Because there is that comparison, like
Yes.
what you've experienced before, and somebody does or does not do that, or doesn't feel like this is not what I'm used to, or I kind of like it like that. It factors in some regard.
It does. It does.
But you get past it, but it's just having that comparison, for better or for worse, is something that, can taint it because it's like, oh, you don't do this or you do that. Oh, I'm used to this, So when we playing with that outside the context of marriage, we open up ourselves to different things that should be shared just between our husband and wife. But nonetheless, anyway, so you were talking about that, and what was like some like good things and like maybe some challenges.
So I feel like that right there was something maybe, and then I didn't really understand it like that because I haven't really moved outside of state, or I've never lived really outside of state except for when I was born.
Didn't understand what exactly?
Something like for her, like what it was like for her to uproot her life and move in with me. And it was after marriage, so we never lived with each other beforehand. But when you move in with me, now you're used to living in Michigan where your parents are at. Your older brother there, she has a brother who lives out of state, but your parents, you always at least lived a couple hours at best, not even a couple hours. You lived like maybe at best maybe an hour away from your parents. Yeah. Maybe at best an hour away from your oldest brother. Right. But when you come to live with me now, you're 3 hours away from your parents, your auntie, your brother, and a lot of your friends and community back there. So now you have to come and make a whole new set of friends, whole new community. Because other than that, it's just Israel.
Especially
for sure.
20-something years of your life with having that foundation.
Literally. So then it's just like, I can't imagine how hard that was for her. I don't think I thought about it too often then, because I'm just like, okay, next thing, because in my mind, what I was struggling with is relating to her. Yeah. Because I'm always thinking about, okay, we got to get ready to plant this church. So ministry, how can I serve here? How can we start planting this church here? So I'm not thinking about how hard it was for her to move, how hard it was for her to make friends. And she was more at the time, I think still probably, because you don't really change temperament. She was an introvert. So you come over here, you're an introvert, so you got to make new friends, new families. We're black, so you got to make new friends that are actually family. Yeah. And until you really get comfortable, I'm the only person here. Like, you met people through being engaged with me, but you really hang out with them like that. So now you got to really go out your comfort shell and leave everything, leave your comfort, leave your safety, essentially. Because for all you know, I could have been an abusive dude who actually beats women once I get them one-on-one, or I could have been this crazy dude.
Clear, were you that guy?
No.
Okay, just to be clear, get that out the way.
No, I wasn't none of that. But she took a risk, right? So she doesn't know that. So then coming in here, she, at least at home, she's safe. Yeah. Because, you got your parents there, not too far away. If anything else fails, you can always go back home. You got your brother there, and you got your friends, you got your church you grew up in there. Yeah. Now, not only do you have to come to a new community, you got to join a new church, new job. And it was especially hard for her because she had to get a new license she had to go to school, take a few extra classes to get a license here. She was a counselor. Okay. So she was going to be cool if she would have took a license in Michigan. But since she moved to Ohio, she had to jump through so many hoops. Well, not like 1,000 hoops, but a lot of hoops to get approved to take a class. So then after taking that class, then she could take the test for her license.
Oh, wow. So that transition alone, moving from Michigan, where her family and friends were, and where that was her comfort zone. Yeah. To moving to, granted, not cross country, a few hours away, but it's still different. You're starting a new life with the new husband.
So I'm not even thinking too much about that, not because it's like it wasn't a lot, but I'm not thinking too much of it because I'm focused on gotta plant this church. I'm a pastor. Okay, now we're married.
Would you say that was your top priority? Like,
for sure.
Was it competing with make sure you were a good husband for your wife at the time?
No, I would not say that was not my not always my my preference at the time. And not because
what was it? You
being the best, being the best husband. And when I say that, not that I was just blatantly trying to not be a good husband. I wasn't thinking about emotionally being there enough, and even not even emotionally being enough, just being enough to like, hey, let's go on a date, let's go hang out, let's kick it, let's do this. And I just want to spend some time with you. As soon as she got there, I'm still doing Impact, still doing Voice of Testimony, still serving at Span, and working. So mind you, working a full-time job, still doing stuff at Impact, BOT, Span. So at some point, I know she probably had to wonder, like, where do I come in at?
So that's interesting because when you were dating long distance, and my wife and I, we're a few hours away. I was in the Kent area, Storay area. She was in Columbus. But anyway, from y'all being cross state, when you make the time to go see her, y'all spending that time uninterrupted, but integrating your lives together where, hey, you live with my daily routines and my schedule and what I'm doing and what she's doing, that I can see could be.
So that was a conflict. And I think that's a lesson I learned in marriage. I mean, I learned in marriage. I think moving forward, if I got married again, I wouldn't say that we would live with each other beforehand, but maybe like, hey, come stay with one of my female friends, or I'm in a hotel and see how I actually live for a week, or let me do that to your city so you can see. Because I think what happened is now, and this happened later on. I think this kind of led to a little bit of the end of the marriage. Is like, now she didn't feel like I'm ignoring you, because like we used to, when you ever used to visit me, we would hang out all the time. You'd be all over me. We'd be, you know, basically you couldn't keep your eyes off me. We'd talk, we'd kick and stuff like this. Whereas now it's just like, you don't pay me that much attention. So either A, you must not like me, you must not be as into me anymore, or maybe you're trying to do this to manipulate me. Maybe you're only gonna pay me attention when you want something from me, and then when you don't want something from me, or you want me to act a certain way, you won't pay attention so that you can keep me in this little hold.
Wow. And at the time, did she express, you know, how she was feeling and you not giving her the attention?
I think we got to that a little bit later in the marriage, and then even then, I don't think I fully grasped how much of a,
because you were focused on doing so much other things.
Yes, focused on so much happening, and then at the same time, I'm thinking, well, you know what? The sooner I plant this church, the sooner because we was gonna plant that campus. I mean, that version of Span in Toledo. I was like, everything will be solved. The sooner we get there, we're closer to home, closer to family. That's the issue. The issue is she needs to be brought closer to home, because you know what? Her career is difficult.
She homesick at this time?
For sure. And I'm like, the issue is, you know what? Her career is difficult, but if we move closer to Toledo, then maybe she can get a job in Michigan. The issue is she doesn't have as many friends here. The solution is plant this church in Toledo, and then she can be close to her friends. Oh, she needs her family. Everything in my mind was plant this church, and then the stuff you can't give her, because like I said, I can't give you a career. I can't give you the friends you've had growing up, and I can't give you. We can make a new family, but I can't give you the family you grew up with. But if I plant this church in Toledo, or if we get, I was even open if it happens in Michigan, then I can give you everything you want once we get there. But I gotta get there first. I gotta get there first. Because other than that, I really didn't want to move back to Toledo for real. Like, just to keep it honest with you. It's really for
Toledo.
Ministry.
You know, I respect it. Toledo's an old industrial city.
It's on the come up now, but it's just like, I didn't go back for a reason. And I was always thinking maybe I'll go back when we start having kids or something like that. But just right now, like, this is the area. This is lit. So I feel like that was the issue on my part.
I'm sorry, was she able to establish her own community? I know, like, you're pretty social. You have friends, but did she make her own friends outside of you knowing?
She made friends, but I think all the friends she made were still through Izzy. Like, okay, you're making friends through Impact, but that's because you're going to Impact, because Izzy's always going to Impact.
I got you.
You're making friends at Span, but that's because it's Izzy's church. Izzy's this, and this guy. Because even like my pastor, sometimes she like, you got the nickname Mr. Impact, or you know Mr. at Span and stuff like that. So
he's a pretty social and gregarious guy. He knows a lot of individuals, a lot of people, man.
For sure. So to her defense, like, not that I was a horrible person or a horrible husband, but I wasn't given all that I could have at times. And it, again, never was necessarily intentional. It's just, again, me being one track mind focused, as you know, some men can be. I mean, I got to do this, because this is my calling. And I have to do this, and then now I'm probably getting so obsessed with my calling that I'm like, okay, this is the only way that I can make her happy. I get this, then she gets everything she wants. Close to her family, close to her friends. She can have the career that she wants and stuff like that. Everything focuses from there on out. But that definitely was not the case. So, you know, we had some ups and downs in our marriage, like any marriage does. Like, no marriage is perfect for sure. And then
before you go into like kind of the end of the marriage, what were you? I know you said, and I appreciate your transparency and just being, you know, honest about that. What was some of the highlights? You know, I know she came down here. You know, new family or new friends, new job, new location, new community. You know, kind of integrating into your life.
For sure.
What was some of the cool experiences or the best memories of your marriage before?
Easy.
You know, you kind of get into that.
Say less. Easy. So one, I got to really see God move in ways I didn't before. Like, it was hard for her to get a license.
To get
licensed because